Okay, today, April 28th, 2022, the title is Son of God, Fulfillment. And I would like to start with the statement that Jesus made, I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. So anybody, what this means to me is anybody who's out here with whatever the problem appears to be, Jesus Christ said he wasn't here to destroy his problems. He was here to fulfill. And so, therefore, we do not destroy problems. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we don't destroy problems. We're here to fulfill. Said fulfill what? Fulfill the fact that the problem is not there. It's not real. It's not a truth. And so, as we understand that and keep in that state of consciousness, we see the problems destroy themselves, if there is such a thing, because really it's a dream. And you always wake up from a dream, and you never really are that which you saw in the dream. That's not you. And so, therefore, you're not even destroying the veil. There appears to be a veil that's covering what you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, because you're looking at it from a structural sense of the universe. We're thinking that the tree is solid and the car is solid and, I don't know, the house is solid, but in reality, they're just ideas. But because of the veil, or so-called veil, they seem to be solid, because the mind, which is called carnal or mortal mind, is showing them from a structural state of solidity. But the one thing that starts to push through, it's like we're all pregnant with this one thing, this Son of God consciousness, this Son of God self. And this is pushing through to let us know that supply, substance, exists in and as form or forms. It exists in and as every form necessary right now, all the time, because the kingdom of heaven is among us. So there's nowhere to be that there's no such thing as the substance, which is Lillian DeWaters called it the finished kingdom. But we know that the Aramaic definition of kingdom is counsel. So really there's nothing but the substance, which is the word. And that word always becomes flesh. So she's right in the sense that we're living in the finished word. The word is the truth. I am the way. I am the life. And that is pushing its way through, and it must be born, because that is the law. It can't just sit back and go, oh, here I am. I'm potential. Its potential is you could reach me. A lot of people take that statement that Paul made as final, when Paul said, not that I have arrived, but I keep pressing forward. But what he was saying was his state of consciousness at that particular point. We know Paul arrived. He got there. Why? But what did he say? No, he didn't say that. He said, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. So we know, well, he arrived at some point. But he was telling a certain group of people, I haven't gotten there yet. But I'm going to get there. Why? Because that which is to be has already been, and that which is being is now. God has decreed that I am his son. I'm there. So therefore, God has decreed my fulfillment. So maybe I don't feel like I'm fulfilled right now, but guess what? One day, it's going to shine through, and I won't have to tell anybody. They'll say, man, something different about you. You look like you got it going on. And all you'll be able to do is say, yeah, I do. But you won't be able to tell them why or how. They'll follow the message that's coming out of you. They'll follow the life that you're living because they will want that. But you trying to tell them about it, they're going to always have some reason for why, why this or why that, or why this or why that. Always have that. And you'll be able to just know the truth. And not up to you to convince them. It's up to you to just keep living at your highest understanding of what God is and what you are as sons of God. Whatever the seeming need appears to be, the supply, which I call the substance, and I call it also the evidence, which is really consciousness in form, that you are this because it is present as whatever the need appears to be. You see, it is made out of you. It is made out of your consciousness. It is made out of your awareness. It is made out of the substance that you are, because that's all there is in all of this substance, divine substance. And see, whatever is necessary to your expressed fulfillment, your expressed fulfillment of purpose, because, you know, if you're fulfilled, you will express it. You won't even have to try. Flowers don't try to bloom. They just bloom. They're fulfilled. The sun doesn't try to shine. It just shines because it's fulfilled. It expresses its fulfillment. So you will do the same thing. You will express your fulfillment of purpose because it already exists as a supply that is your own consciousness right here, right now. You are always who you are right now, whether it looks like it, whether you feel like it, or whether you're acting like it. You will always be that because you cannot separate yourself from what God is. You are the I am awareness that is called Son of God, which is one with God. And there are not multiple personalities all over the place saying I this and I that, I this and I that. There's only one I. There's only one I. And that I is who we all are. We just might not express it at the same level, but that doesn't mean that we won't, because God says all shall know me. So as I said, this thing is bubbling on the inside of you, but the thing that's bubbling is you. When I say on the inside of you, I'm talking about consciousness. I'm not talking about on the inside of your body. I'm not talking about on the inside of your fingers or your legs. No, I'm talking about inside of the consciousness that you are. You are, I guess what I'm saying, getting rid of that which is veiling, which you really are. You're just kind of throwing it out, throwing it overboard, making the ship get a little lighter so you can float on. Jesus said, the words I speak, they are spirit and life. He said, the flesh profits nothing. But the words I speak, they are spirit and life. Now, see, we go back to what I was saying. The supply, the substance, the consciousness is the word, which is the word of God, which is the only word there is. And so the words I speak are spirit and they are life. Why? Because Jesus said, you are the light of the world. He got that from God. And so therefore, he knows that the word is God. He knows that the word is substance. And so therefore, Paul comes along, and like I said, Paul arrived because in Hebrews 11:3, what did he say? The worlds were framed by the word of God. The worlds were framed. What worlds? I thought it was only one. Well, because you are a son of God and you are expressing your fulfillment in a specific and individualized way, you're expressing your world. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. You are expressing how people react to you, how they respond to you. You are expressing that as you move higher and higher in consciousness. One thing I noticed over the last couple of years is I don't interact with people as much as I used to. the more I studied, the higher I seem to rise in consciousness, the more the people who want to criticize people, judge people, talk about people, all of that kind, they just seem to drop out. A lot of them came back to see me during the time that, of the Cynthia Celebration of Life. I didn't see a whole lot of them during that 5-year period where I was taking care of her, but it's even dropped off more since the funeral. And rather than sit and say, well, wow, man, I wonder what happened, I don't wonder what happened, because I am drawing out of what I am that which I wish to interact with. Because I don't want to hear about Putin. I don't want to hear about the Republicans, the governments. I don't want to hear any of that. So those people who have those kinds of judgments, I really, I just realized, well, they're sons of God. And at some particular point, the veil will start to come away, and they will arrive. But my job is not to stay back here and try to straighten them out. That's the ultimate waste of time. I had a little vision in my head the other day, and I call it a vision because it was just like, how you just have a little something happens in your head that you wasn't planning on. I call that a vision. You just see a little something. Well, what I saw was Jesus walking, and I can tell you, if you read a lot of Bible and you read a lot of those stories, your imagination will take off and you'll start to seeing certain things and how they possibly happened. I saw Jesus, and I saw him walking among crowds, and I saw him walking all through the wherever he went, all these people around, and I didn't see him looking for people to preach to. I saw him, he was just kind of going his own way, and his 12 buddies were just kind of going along with him. And then they had a couple of ladies that were there. One of them was had to do with they were helping to provide food, and I know one was Mary Magdalene, and I felt that, oh, wow, she was committed because he had cast some demons out of her, and instead he didn't even discriminate. He did not condemn her when those guys were going to stone her. And so I'm quite sure you would be committed too if somebody treated you that way, like you were an equal. I think that's probably where the first words of total inclusion came in. He was not judging by the appearances. He was calling her a son of God. So that's how I got into this title, the Son of God, fulfillment. And so I just kept seeing him walk among all these people, and he was just, and if somebody asked for something, he gave it to them because he felt like they had faith. Now, why did he feel like they had faith? Because he was seeing them as sons of God. He was seeing them as sons of God because they asked. He drew to him those who were ready. That's where we miss it. We just think we're supposed to go out here. I don't know about you guys, but I know that's where I came from. I'm called to preach. So I'm supposed to heal everybody. I'm supposed to make it all right for everybody. I'm supposed to do this and that. No, I'm not. I'm supposed to look and see everybody as sons of God. That's it. The rest is on God. But it's real hard to see everybody as sons of God if you have not seen yourself as son of God. Or if that's just some kind of a statement that you're making. It's real easy to grab John saying, now are we the sons of God. It's real easy to quote Paul. It's real easy to quote any of the scriptures. What did Paul say? Many are led by the Spirit of God. They're the sons of God. How many people say that? But yet, right off the other side of their mouth is the next thing they say. Something that's not coming from the consciousness of the Son of God. I'll leave that to your own imagination. But in the meantime, I could see Jesus was just, whatever the need was, he realized he was the answer. He was the resolution. He was all there was to what reality was, wherever he was. And I said, man, just to be like that, that'd be one. I mean, just walk around knowing that you don't have to care. All you have to do is be the son of God and let God do the taking care of the business. That'd be great. The little boy said, yeah, that would be heaven, wouldn't it? I'm like, oh, wow, that is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be walking around as the sons of God and letting God do his thing, because there's only one, one life. There's only one purpose, one sense of being, one reality, one soul. We're all that one soul. We're all that one life, that one I. There's no other I. It just individualizes itself as us and expresses different kinds of talents and gifts. I could just see that. And when I saw that, I went, oh, my God, this is beautiful. My world is being framed. My thoughts are changing. I'm seeing how Jesus walked around in the Holy Land. I'm seeing how he became famous. He wasn't trying to become famous. He was just walking around as the Son of God and letting God heal through him, letting God raise the dead through him, letting God counsel people, give them the truth, the Beatitudes, feeding thousands. I'm like, wow. Okay, I see this. So, well, you're on the right path now then. If you see it, you can be it. Because if you see it, you are it. Okay, so let's get practical right quick. Let's ask a question. What seems to be necessary right now? What seems to be necessary? It appears to be some kind of a need. Then whatever that is has to exist, and the forms have to appear, because my consciousness is right now. My consciousness is the resolution of what appears to be needed, because if I'm aware of it, it must exist. Or how does it exist? It's an idea. The idea is coming from God. It has to. My awareness is my fulfillment. My consciousness of what needs to be is right now. It can't not be, because God is all. You know, this is how this all started. I don't know how far along, how long ago it was, but it was, 3 or 4 Thursdays ago. My subject was Ecclesiastes, that which is to be has already been, and that which has been is right now. And as the foundation, these sharings that I am doing each Thursday are all based on that. I don't have to make anything be. I don't have to cause anything to come forth. All I need to do is be aware that the substance already exists, because I am the substance. And whatever appears to be needed, I'm looking at it. It's an idea. It's substance. It's already a form. It just comes into my experience as a world being framed by my word, which is either silent, which is a thought, or it's not silent, meaning I verbalized it. I said, man, I need to do da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And before you know it, if I don't give it any more thought, I end up doing it. Oh, you know what? This is my mind right now. I'm not remembering such and such, but it'll come to me. And before I know when I'm not thinking about it, bing, it pops in. So the idea is I'm always the substance of that which is needed. And so when that need appears and I become aware of whatever symbol is needed to fulfill my purpose in as some kind of form, my attention becomes focused. This is very important. Whatever symbol is that I need, my attention gets focused on what seems to be necessary. And I am aware that the necessary symbol exists as the consciousness that I am. Whatever it is, I don't care if it's just something minute or something huge. If I need, I don't care what it is. It's hard to think of it because I've been practicing so hard on knowing that there's no such thing as a need. But if something appears to be missing, like I was talking last week, that's what we were talking about. If something appears to be missing and I focus my attention on what appears to be missing, I will come into an awareness that it's there. It really is there because it is substance, and it is the substance that I am, and it's made out of what I am. It has to appear. I go on and forget about it, and at some particular point, it shows up. Now, if it's necessary that it show up in 15 minutes, it's going to show up in 15 minutes because as the Son of God, that confidence comes to you. I need to know what to do. I need to make a phone call. I need to talk to such and such a person. I need to make an arrangement. I don't care what it is. It will be the right one because I realize I am the Son of God, and it's up to God to work out the arrangements. You see, when he says work out your own salvation through fear and trembling, he's just saying the only way to work it out is to identify with what you really are. And because you identify with being the Son of God, you've worked out your deliverance, which is salvation, from what appears to be a need. Why? Because God is all there is. God is life. God is the all. See, all of that stuff has to go from being statements to a reality of consciousness. I understand that I am focused on what needs to be the symbol realized and appearing in my experience, and because I am consciously aware of it, because I realize I am that, it shows up. It has to. Isaiah 65:24. Before they call, I have answered. The God consciousness, I am, recognizes the presence in any form that is necessary to my complete fulfillment. It has to. It doesn't have a choice. Because God is not, as the metaphysicians say, localized. God is not in one particular place. God is the I, which is everywhere. I saw a cute example from Lillian DeWaters, and she was saying, you can't personalize God. You can't personalize. This is, take the word I. You can't personalize that word because everybody uses the word I. If they can talk, they use the word I. And so I is universal. I is throughout the whole land, which is everywhere. And she used an example like, take the number 5. You can't personalize 5 because you can't possess it. You say, well, this is my 5. How can it be when I can write down 5 and everybody on this class can write down 5 and people who appear to be crooks can write down 5? And then she goes on deeper and says, even if you go to the board and erase 5, where did 5 go? Because 5 is an idea. 5 is infinite. You can't change it into anything. It's just what it is. And you can't change you into anything either. Look how long the preachers and the teachers, and there's Marvin Gaye's mother said the bishops and things, look how long they've been trying to get us to convert this so-called mortal self, mortal being, into a good person and then into being saved, and then one day God calling us home. it touched me that God does not call anyone home in the sense of the person died or made a transition or whatever the word is that makes people feel better about so-called death. How can God call you home when you are home? You are never separated from God, so God can't call you home. But you can wake up and go home in consciousness, in belief, but you're already there. You were never, ever separated, so God can't call you home. God says, I, the Lord, have called you in righteousness. You guys read Isaiah 42 when you get a chance. Look at that. I, the Lord, have called you in righteousness. Well, there's only one righteous one, and that is the Son of God. That's it. So that Son of God, God has already called you that. God has already said, in you I am well pleased. Oh, wow. Is God living by faith? When I'm out here acting a fool and not believing, and when Michael seems to be going off the rails and getting angry and yelling and being mad, God is living by faith, saying, this is my Son in whom I am well pleased. I don't care what it appears to be that he's acting like. He's coming into his own. Wow. God has faith. Just think about that. God says, I believe in you because you are my Son, and I'm not ever going to let go of that. That is wonderful. That is beautiful, because I know some of us would have let go of a whole lot of folk long, long time ago. And some of us have let go of a lot of folk, but we're picking them back up. We're bringing them back into our consciousness as well as by saying, they are really sons of God. We're not making just statements. We're realizing the truth about them. And in them, we are well pleased. Y'all get that? You see, that's forgiveness. When I go away from looking at your personality and the way you act, and I start looking at who you are, Son of God, one with God, I am fulfilling myself and you. And that light's going on, and you're starting to move in that particular direction. There is never a need, for I am the consciousness that is ever aware of the supply, the substance, and the symbol. They're all one thing. The need fulfilled. Paul said in Philippians 4:19, my God, which I always interpret as consciousness, shall supply all your need. Why did he say your need? Because he's saying you are the Son of God and you don't have a need. And as you understand being the Son of God, you don't have a need. That's the my God supplying who you are. More confident, more gratitude, grace, which is sufficient. Supply is always where and what I am, and I am immediately focused on the necessary symbols. Immediately. I mean, think about it. If you need $5, your immediate focus and attention is on a $5 bill or 5 ones. That's just how it is. If your need is to pay a bill, then your immediate focus, your attention is all focused on paying that bill. And if you were to realize I am the supply and I pay the bill right now, not just in statement, but because of who I am the Son of God, God takes care of this, the ways, you are the door. You are the way. And so it has to come. I therefore discover supply right here, now, within and as my consciousness. My consciousness exists and appears as the necessary forms to fulfillment of its purpose. The purpose of consciousness, fulfillment. That's amazing. You see, I am aware of fulfillment, so therefore I am fulfilled. Not just in word, just saying something, but if I realize that the words that I speak are spirit and life, I'm telling the truth. My conviction is with that. It gets tough. It doesn't. It appears to, but the more tough, the more substance. The substance is right there because I am right there. Wherever I am, God is, substance is, consciousness is, and all is well. Wherever I am, or whatever I am conscious of, I am conscious as that thing. I am conscious of being that which claims my attention at any moment. The symbol or apparent thing is consciousness expressed as form. Light. All is light. The whole world is light. And we are never separated from God because God is light and we are light. A friend called me the other day. He said, "Man, he said a whole bunch of stuff about people he was suing and he was this and that. He was just going on and on and on and on. I was just sitting there listening. I'm just, And plus, what was crazy was he called me at 7 o'clock in the morning. So of course I didn't have a whole lot to say. I'm just laying there listening. And then he got to talking about, but they put me on workers' comp and retaliated and set me over in the building and told me I have to sit there and do nothing all day. I'm in there for 8 hours, and they said, and they told me that I can't go back to work until I go to the doctor, and I've applied for. I tried to get an appointment, and the doctor has not been able to see me, and this, that, and Then he said, but I'm a little worried, and I'm afraid. I need my check, and suppose they don't. There's a part. Do you think you used to be a human resources guy? Are they gonna pay me or this, that, and the other? And I got in where I fit in. And you know what I said to him? What I see in what you're doing is you have some fear. So in the meantime, you need to go read Psalms 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. In whom shall I fear? And you just read that and read that. I said, and you need to read Isaiah 42. He said to me, I talked to a friend not too long ago, and I was telling them this whole story that I just told you, and they told me to read Psalms 27 and Isaiah 42. I said, well, you done heard from God twice, brother. So you better go read all of that because God is dealing with your fear. He ain't dealing with you suing folk and making them pay and retaliation. I said, that doesn't have anything to do with who you are. So you need to go read that. Because if somebody told you the same exact scriptures that I told you to read, I would look at that. Two people have told you the same thing. You see, whatever the need is, it claims my attention. I'm conscious of the supply because I am the supply for the specific necessity. I am conscious of the supply. I am conscious as the supply. The supply, as we said earlier, already exists as the substance that is my consciousness. When it needs to appear as substance in forms, again, because my attention has been focused on that particular aspect, the need, the symbol, my consciousness appears as that. That's what we call fulfillment. You see, I'm fulfilled already, and then the symbol shows up. It doesn't work the other way. I can't ever put the apparent need before the supply. I'm always acknowledging the presence of the supply in and as the forms that are necessary. And so that apparent need serves to draw my attention to the supply that's already here. I'm always aware that the supply always precedes the apparent need. Again, Isaiah 65. 24, before they call, I have answered. While they are speaking, I appear. I hear. I, consciousness, substance. In Psalms 32 and 80 it says, I've already made you to understand the way that you ought to go. This thing is rigged. I tell y'all that every week. It's rigged. I've already made you understand this. The world that you're looking at is not reality. It's a veil over what the substance of the real world is, and your job is to live in the reality of the world. So when you see error and you see all these things coming up that appear to be discordant, your job is to remember, I'm the Son of God. It ain't for me to move this. I'm not here to destroy this. I'm going to fulfill now. I am fulfilled in this particular situation, no matter what it is. You see, God has already made me to understand who I am because God understands itself, himself, herself, whatever is politically correct. That which is to be has already been, and that which has been is right now. What God has done is done forever. It is finished. You cannot add anything to it, and you cannot take anything away. Fulfillment exists before there is a desire. The wish is already fulfilled, as Neville says. The intent, what I intend to do, I've already done. The good that I intend to do, I've already done, because it is an idea which I have realized within my conscious self. I am the Son of God. And because I am the Son of God, I am fulfilled already. And so therefore, as that fulfillment, I already know that that is faith. That is the mind of Christ. That is the enlightened state of consciousness. God has already supplied everything that is necessary for me to live out my life of fulfillment. So to end this is how I ended. I asked this question. So why am I here? If it's already fulfilled and it's already done and God has already supplied everything, why am I here? This is the answer that came to me. It might not come to you, but this is what came to me. I'm on my way back home from a far country of belief. You see, I believed I was separated from my father. For some reason, I did just like Adam. I said, well, I could go out here and make my own way. I can use this thing for this or for that. I'll be like God. Dude, you already like God. Well, yeah, but I'll be like God if I eat from this tree. If I start putting these things into practice, I can have my own way. You know, I realized my Son of God self in the midst of all of that. See, out in the far country, trying to make it as a musician, trying to make it as a pastor, as a preacher, as a teacher, trying to show God that I'm doing what he has called me to do, all of that was unrighteous. God called me in righteousness and said, son, you are my son. I have called you in righteousness. So realizing my Son of God self, guess what? I return to my Father's house, consciousness, to that state of I and my Father are one. And as the Son of God, I realize my fulfillment. That's why I'm here. I am here to realize that I have, oh, wait a minute, I woke up in a far country, and now I realize that I am a son of God. I'm tired of eating with the swine. I'm tired of this up and down, this every time you look around, something going awry, running off the rails. I'm tired of all of that. I know I'm going to go home to my Father. I'm going to leave this belief world of good and evil. I'm going home to my father and say, Father, forgive me. Even the servants in your house have it better than I do. And I already know the end of the story. The robe, the ring, the party, the kiss on the neck, and the statement coming from my father. My son has returned. He was lost, but now he's found. He was blind, now he sees. Why? He believed he was blind. He believed he was lost. What part of him believed that? The part that he accepted that was separate from God. He was never separate from the Father. And now he realizes, as Son of God, I am fulfilled. Amen. And so it is.